Bilateral. Yeah, girly. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Hello and welcome back to the Introvert Circus. I am here with Sirius and we are so excited. She's even wearing a tiny hat because today is 2 years since Sirius had bilateral TPLO, reconstructive surgery on both of her knees. Yeah, it has been 2 years today since that surgery, which was a complete success. And I wanted to make a video to show you footage from the rehab process. So we have from day one through when she was fully cleared as healed at 13 weeks. So we're gonna watch that footage. It was a complete success. You know, this surgery changed our life. It led to us moving from New York City to Portland. Yeah, and I'm really excited to take you on the journey of Sirius's knees. Yeah, it's your second AnKNEEversary, huh? Bad joke. But I hope you enjoy. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up and let's watch Sirius's knees. All right, so let's get going. This was a picture taken at the consultation with the fourth surgeon. We met with the surgeon who did do her surgery here in Portland. We met with surgeons in New York as well. And this is a picture. We were able to visit her the night she had surgery. She had to spend the night, and this is the x-ray right after surgery. And here she is. This is 3 days after surgery. She walked out of the hospital the second day. And here she is 3 days later. You can see her little shaved chicken legs. And she was obviously on very, very, very strict rest. She was able just to go outside to potty. And I'm so grateful I have these video clips. This is 5 days after surgery. It's absolutely wild to me to see the dog that you see in videos all the time here, running, jumping, playing, cleared to do everything.
Good job, baby.
Here she was right after surgery. And this is again, this is 5 days after her knee surgery. And you can see her just able to do those steps, though. It's so impressive. So both of her knees were done at the same time. This is 11 days after surgery, which is a procedure called bilateral. So both of the knees were surgically altered and plated and pinned. And part of the reasoning for doing that was because of her age. She had knee surgery right before her second birthday. So her birthday is in end of December, and she had surgery in mid-October. And the decision was, this was her first walk, 5-minute walk at the suggestion or at the prescription of her physical therapist, 16 days after surgery. For 5 minutes, she went on a little walkie. But she was able to do bilateral because of her age. She was very young. She was incredibly fit, incredibly strong, lots of muscle tone that was very even muscle tone. Here's a little bit. And they wanted to give her the best shot at full recovery and not cause any more injury to any of her knees. So this was 2 weeks after surgery. This was her first physical therapy appointment. She started physical therapy the day after the staples came out from surgery, and we love PT. I cannot say enough good things about physical therapy. We went to Healing Arts veterinary rehab in Oregon, and I love them. I give them so much credit. Her surgeon was incredible, no question. We were very, very picky about where she did surgery. I've talked a little bit about, so here we are 3.5 weeks after surgery on a walk, her prescribed walks. We met with surgeons in New York and made the determination that we needed to move from New York City to Portland, Oregon to do surgery because of the house we were living in 4 weeks after surgery in the underwater treadmill. We were living in New York, had a lot of stairs. We were living in our basement to keep her out of the stairs at that point once she had injured her knee. And the decision was that we would have better rehab options in Oregon if we made the move sooner versus doing surgery first. So she loved to carry her bumper. We call it Buoy in the underwater treadmill. It was her favorite. She would just carry Buoy and do her walkies in the treadmill. Different angle than TV that day. And it just was amazing to see how quickly she progressed. We had an incredible surgeon who did a beautiful job on her knees, and then rehab made such a difference. All the physical therapy, if you were, the way that we think about it is if a person were to have this kind of significant surgery, you wouldn't just lay in bed for 2 months. You would be going to physical therapy, and the same is true for dogs.
It really, really makes a difference in getting them safely up, safely mobile, maintaining muscle, building muscle, learning how to really move those new limbs. And I am just so grateful we were able to do all of this with her and for her. She is absolutely incredible. It was an amazing process. It was also a very time-intensive process. I want to be really clear on that. I'm a little extra. That probably doesn't surprise anybody, but my full-time job is being an author and a freelance writer, and I write about dogs for a living, and I was very, very fortunate that meant I was able to build my day around all of her rehab needs. So after surgery, she was not alone for a moment for the first 2 weeks until the staples came out, because actually coned, it was just safer that way. With we were able to keep the cone off when we were fully monitoring her, cone on, but she was not alone at all. But we put it on obviously when we were sleeping. This is 6 weeks after surgery. And then every day I had a bullet journal. You've seen my bullet journal videos. That's when I started bullet journaling my dog work, was because I was bullet journaling all of her meds for the first couple of weeks when she was on medication, her heat compresses, again, for those first couple of weeks after surgery, and then as we started physical therapy, our daily exercise regime at home, everything we needed to do between appointments to keep her progressing. And it was a lot of work, but it was completely worth it. I just remember seeing her here and seeing the progress was so amazing. So we were doing underwater treadmill, we were doing structured exercise at PT, we were doing laser therapy. We did a little bit of acupuncture. She wasn't a giant fan of acupuncture, so we didn't do a lot of it. But she did love the underwater treadmill. Obviously, a chance for her to be in water, and anytime she can be in water, she's pretty happy about it, and loved to carry her buoy in the tank. Here she still had a vet tech in with her, just spotting her. I believe there's probably footage by the end where she was on her own in the treadmill, but in these first few weeks of PT, she had some supervision. She was getting tired at the end, and she would just ride it back and then walk forward. But toys made such a big difference for her, being able to have fun with the process, and that's really one of the big parts of physical therapy, is that it is fun. And she had so much foundation training that it made a humongous difference, that she was like, oh, we're doing tricks now, oh, we're doing things now, that's exciting. And she was really excited to go to PT, in a way that she was not excited to go to regular vet clinics. She's nervous and a little nervy about those right around surgery, because we had so many visits with her knees. But going to the PT vet, she was a happy girl about that. So more underwater footage. We took a lot of clips from various these appointments, just because she was so happy, and it was so good to see her moving. It was 7 weeks after surgery. Timestamp was a little slow to go in. So you can already see her so much more confidently moving. Here she is alone in the treadmill for the first time and doing her thing. There we go. Slowed down, got distracted. But so this is 7 weeks after surgery of both of her knees being reconstructed. And it's incredible. Like, I look at that post-surgery x-ray, and you see those pins and those plates, and she is truly a bionic bear. And it is incredible what modern veterinary medicine is able to accomplish, and the way that it was able to give her a full quality of life. And that was our goal, and that was our reasoning for doing, this surgery, is that she was a very young, very active, high-drive dog who we wanted to get her back to the things that she loved. She had never had any injury. She's never jumped in or out of a car in her life. She'd never done anything high impact. We did all of those things right with her as a puppy. Her breeder was absolutely shocked that both of her knees needed reconstructing, because it is not something common in her line. All of the testing of her parents and grandparents had come back amazing in terms of their joints, and everyone else from her litter was great. But she, for whatever reason, it's one of those things that all the best laid plans can still end up with injuries, or just structural, like she was just structurally predisposed, the way her knees were formed to have this kind of CCL injury, which is pretty common in all big dogs, not just Noof. So here we are 7 weeks after surgery. We're doing some of our prescribed exercises at home. You can see she's still wearing the Help 'em Up harness at this point, which is absolutely worth its weight in gold. I cannot recommend that harness enough. At this point, she was mostly wearing it for our peace of mind. This is a little extra. You can see her beginning to get more coordination. So this was some prescribed exercise from her physical therapist. We had a certain number of rotations we were supposed to do a few times a day. And I mean, you've seen Sirius doing pivots now, but this was her 7 weeks after surgery, and this was a skill she had before surgery. And again, that's where all of the foundation training and trick training really, really helped her to recover as quickly as she possibly could have, because she had so much of this skill set already. It was just learning how to do it again on her new knees. This is 7.5 weeks. This is her first outing. She was allowed to go, or she was prescribed to go for like a walk somewhere outside of our neighborhood for a very short period of time. I think it was 10 minutes. And to work on some sits and stands PT. And I remember she was just this silly goofball. She was so excited to be somewhere. And I was just enamored. Here we are 8 weeks after surgery. She was allowed to be off leash, structured for the first time in the yard alone without the other dogs, for a very controlled period of time from physical therapy. And here we are 8 weeks. She was also cleared to start working on rally again, like low impact rally. And this was after she'd gone back for her surgical recheck with the surgeon, and also with the advice and monitoring of her physical therapist vet. You can see her little chicken legs starting to grow back in, and she's so much more confident in her motions and movements. It's pretty incredible to see how quickly she was bouncing back. At this point, I should also say she was off all pain medication, I believe, 3 weeks after surgery, and anti-inflammatories at that point. She was really, really in good shape and moving really comfortably. And you can see those little bits of baby bounce here, and it was all, very controlled. Wanted her very focused, not doing anything reckless at this point, but also wanting her moving as part of the healing process here.
Great. Yes.
It was just so amazing to see her getting back to doing things that she loves. And here we are at 9 weeks. They said she could go to drop-in rally class, so we started going to rally classes on some weekend mornings at that time, and it was absolutely amazing. And I know folks were shocked. I remember one time in the class, the instructor took us aside afterwards and had said that while we were going, somebody had been like, I think there's something kind of weird about that dog's gait. Do you think I should say anything to them? And her response was, that dog had bilateral TPLO knee surgery 9 weeks ago. They know, and she's doing great. Here she was 11 weeks after surgery, and the person had just been shocked that she was moving that well. They thought maybe she just was, like something was stiff, and it was like, no, she's relearning how to move her knees and walk. So here we are, 11 weeks after surgery, doing some rally. This is some more baby rally, and it's all one step at a time. And I feel like this is also part of that process that I just want to name. I made a video earlier this week. I'll try to remember to link it below, about foundations and meeting, your dog where they're at, and that everyone starts somewhere. And that's just one of those things, this year, she's 3 years old, and she earned both her novice rally and intermediate rally titles, and I could not be more proud of this dog. It was absolutely unreal that we were able to do that this year. And I look back at how far we've come, and this also is one of those pieces that feels really important to name. Like, yes, giants are slow to mature. Yes, could I have rushed her into the ring before a year? Absolutely. But would it have meant as much to me? Absolutely not. Like, her going back and us getting to play games that we love together, that we were able to do as part of her rehab, and to get through all of that surgery and rehab process, to come out the other end and have her get to do everything she loves, is by far, the most meaningful thing I can even imagine. Every time I see her play, every time I see her run, I know that all of the money, all of the time, all of the worry and tears and heartache about doing this surgery was completely worth it. And so I'm I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here, 2 years later, and to be able to say that it was such a massive success. And, I'm so glad I took as many video clips as I did of her at various points in recovery, because it's just really cool to see. Here she is 12 weeks after knee surgery, and she's a bouncy, bouncy bear at this point. She is super fun. This was right before we moved out of the rental house we were living in, that we had rented from cross country, sight unseen, other than a tour via video, when we put our house on the market in New York City, and drove cross country with 3 dogs and 3 cats in an SUV, in order to have knee surgery. We had met, with surgeons in New York. We met with her surgeon in Portland a week and a half after we got here. We'd scheduled it months before, not a month before we moved. We moved on 3 weeks notice, cross country, sold our house, and here she is, 12 weeks after surgery, working on Rally. I had entered her into our breed specialties, regional specialty for Rally Novice. Here she is, 13 weeks after surgery, Sirius's Rally debut. The dog before us, peed all over the ring, and she rolled the entire time. I did not care. I was just so happy that my dog was pain-free and having fun, and hey, she's 3 now, and we finished her Rally title with 3 qualifying scores of 95, and I have this amazing memory of her rolling at our breed specialty. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed getting to see just how far Sirius's knees have come in the last 2 years.